The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator was a tool developed by a couple women, and it's based on this idea of preferences. So there are 4 pairs of preferences that you might have, and when you take the assessment tool, you get what I call a 4-letter code, and that code indicates what your preferences are. So just really quickly, the preference pairs are extroversion or introversion, and that's how you like to direct and receive energy. And then the second pair is sensing or intuition, and that indicates how you like to take in information. And then the third pair is thinking or feeling, that illustrates how you like to make decisions. And then finally, judging or perceiving. And this preference pair really determines how or describes how a person likes to approach their outer world.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
why are first of all, I love that it was created by women, but also
Yeah.
why are personality tests helpful? Because what I think is really fascinating is that when I was working for a company once, we took personality tests, and it actually, I went from not working super well with this person to, after we took the test, working really well together. So why is it important to kind of take these tests, and how are they helpful?
Yeah, and what you just described was really the motivation, or one of the major motivations these 2 women had, and that is a pretty fascinating story in and of itself. But they're helpful for a lot of different reasons, and the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator specifically helps us to understand how our brain is wired in relation to how we like to take in information and how we like to make decisions. So understanding that information about yourself can take a lot of pressure off yourself when maybe you don't align with someone else exactly, and it can help you understand other people, can help you communicate better with people, help you manage change in your life better, manage conflict, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any success stories of people who, took the personality test, maybe worked with a coach like you to better understand their personality and how it's helped them, be more successful in their career and life?
Yes, this is my life's work basically, and it's the personality type. Since I work with a specific personality type, is woven into all of the work we do. But specifically, I worked with a client who had been working on her novel for quite a while, and we did the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator assessment, and she revealed to me that she hadn't really fit any of the profiles that she'd read online exactly. But when we went through the debrief that we do and went through the very detailed report, it fit her perfectly. And she was able to use that information about, how she likes to work with time, basically, and deadlines. And she used this very specific information in the report to finish the first part of her novel, which is something she had been working on for a long time. So she was working with the ways that, her brain was wired to get that project off its feet.
Wow, that's really fascinating. So you can literally take this test, which, by the way, I took it before we got on the call, and it didn't take more than 15 minutes, and it was free. Is that the main version that most people are taking?
Well, there are lots of free assessments online, and they're not actually the official Myers-Briggs Type Indicator assessments. They're versions, and they do give you similar letter codes, but it's important to understand they might be based on a different psychology or a typology. There's sort of a lot of systems put together in some of those free assessments. I'm not knocking them at all because they can give you some information, but the official Myers-Briggs Type Indicator has like a lot of decades of research and validity testing and all of that to kind of back up the results that it gives you.
Mm-hmm. And why did you, when you were launching the career in this, why did you choose Myers-Briggs to become a certified, I was going to say test giver. I don't know if that's what we call you, but you're certified in being able to give a Myers-Briggs test, which is, I think, also important to point out, right? Because as you said, the version I took is free, and it's a variation probably of it versus what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's okay to call it a test. Most people do. In the official Myers-Briggs language, we would say assessment or a tool or an indicator, because there's no right or wrong answers. And it doesn't actually measure how much you are of something. It just indicates your preferences, how you prefer to be, with your shoes off self is kind of how we would describe it. But for me, my personality type is somewhat rare. And I know there are a lot of people with my same type who have had experiences similar to me. And so that was a motivation for me in helping others like myself understand themselves better. And that then can bring a huge amount of self-acceptance, which is sort of, I feel like, the foundation for becoming whatever it is that you want to be, whether it's starting a new career or a new business. Self-acceptance is sort of ground level, right? So
Right.
I wanted to go and not only further understand my own personality type and this particular system, but to be able to bring that knowledge to other people as well.
Right. Can you change your personality type? Like, could you start with, because I know, I forget what your type is, but like you are, INFJ, and the I you
Yes.
said stands for introvert. So like, could you go from being an introvert to becoming an extrovert?
Yeah, this is the age-old question, right? I think a lot of the personality type assessments are built, and in Myers-Briggs as well, is built on the understanding that you are born with a particular type. And that's not, we're talking about personality type, not your entire personality, right? Your entire personality is made up of a lot of different things, like your experiences and, beliefs and culture and things like that. So I don't want to give a really cut and dried answer because I think I could argue both sides,
Right.
but the understanding is that you're born with your brain is wired in a particular way. And then, of course, just a caveat that I think circumstances can alter the way that you might approach situations and make it look like you have a different type. So I know that's probably not the best answer. And I
No,
know some
I,
people
it's
can become
honest.
more extroverted or introverted over time. But the idea is that the base is always there.